How is everyone doing? Welcome back to another episode of The Banker Next Door. I am your host, Dr. Joe Berquist. Today, I thought we'd do something a little fun. We're going to take a look at CEO salaries from 2023. We're going to take a look at bank CEO salaries. We're going to take a look at the highest paid CEO in financial services, and we're also going to take a look at the highest paid CEO in the S&P 500. So we're going to look at a few different articles here in relation to this. So what we can see here is that for banks, Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan Chase is still in the top spot. JP Morgan Chase and Company Chairman and CEO Jamie Dimon kept his spot as the highest paid U.S. bank chief executive in 2023, with compensation largely intact from the prior year. Dimon made $35.1 million in total adjusted compensation in 2023, up 0.7% from 2022, according to S&P Global Market Intelligence data. The total comprised $7.1 million in cash compensation and $28 million in stocks granted taken at the grant date's fair value. This year's slim increase came after Dimon's compensation took a nearly 60% hit in 2022. He has taken the top spot for U.S. bank CEOs since 2020, though the end of his tenure at JP Morgan appears to be coming into view. The timetable is not 5 years anymore, Dimon said at the company's investor day in May when asked about how much longer he would remain CEO. So let's take a look at what are some of the other top paid CEOs. Well, we got coming in second, we've got Brian Moynihan, who is the CEO at Bank of America, with total compensation of $27.6 million. Charles Schwab, who is the CEO of Wells Fargo and Company, coming in at $26 million. Jane Fraser, Citigroup, coming in at $25.5 million. William Demchik at PNC is at $19.2 million. And we'll go in kind of who's up and down or whatever. But Andrew Cesari at U.S. Bank Corp, Brian Jordan at First Horizon Corp. You'll remember, I believe, TD Bank and First Horizon tried to put a merger together, which unfortunately did not work out. Bruce Van Saun, who is Citizens Financial Group, has $11.1 million. William Rogers at Truist Financial Corp has got $10.9. And coming down is Gregory Garibrandt, Axios Financial Inc., which is at $10.6 million. But you can see we're kind of, how many we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the majority of CEOs, though, however, their pay declined this year as compared to last year. And only a few CEOs' pay went up. But as we noted with Jamie Dimon, his salary took a significant hit in 2022, back up here in 2023. I find it very interesting. Charles Schwab and Jane Fraser for Wells Fargo and Citigroup, two banks that have struggled. If anybody follows my weekly banking update, you would know that there's a lot of negative news about Wells Fargo and Citigroup kind of week in and week out, having a lot of issues. And it's just kind of interesting to me that of all the CEOs on the list here, whose compensation may have gone up or gone down, it's surprising that the two of them, that their pay would be going up right now. So just a thought there. Okay, anything else? Let's see here. Highest paid CEOs with assets between 50 billion and 500 billion. So this is kind of interesting. So this is kind of more like regional bank territory. So this is basically banks with assets between 50 billion and 500 billion. At Brian Jordan at First Horizon Corp, Bruce Van Saun at Citizens Financial coming in second, Christopher Gorman at Key Corp, Stephen Stenor at Huntington Bankshares, Frank Holdings for Citizens Bankshares, Timothy Spence at Fifth Third Bank Corp. Oh my gosh, I can talk today. Renee Jones, M&T Bank Corp. John Turner at Regionals Financial Corp. Kenneth Vessione at Western Alliance Bank Corp. And Dominic Ning at East West Bank Corp. Inc. So, but let's go on here. So now, and here's kind of an interesting follow-up to this. So CEO pay ratios decline at majority of top 20 U.S. banks in 2023. So most of the 20 largest U.S. public banks by total assets in 2023 reported lower CEO pay ratios compared to the previous year, according to analysis by S&P Global Market Intelligence. The ratio, let's see here, ratio dropped 27 percentage points from the prior year as the median employee salary grew 8.2%. And again, talking about Jamie Dimon again, while Dimon's compensation increased 0.7%, Dimon remained the highest paid bank CEO. Citigroup Inc.'s CEO pay ratio was the second highest at 360 times, up 3 percentage points year over year. And Wells Fargo Company's ratio followed it 325 times, up 1%. Yes, that's what I said. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, pretty interesting there. So the rest of the big five banks, Bank of America and U.S. Bancorp, recorded ratios of 230 and 259 times, down 28 percentage points and up 65 percentage points, respectively. So, CEO pay ratios, median employee salaries at top 20 U.S. public banks by total assets, 2023. And then this just kind of gives us a couple charts here, kind of ranging pay ranges. And you can kind of see, we can kind of see here, like, this is basically like CEO pay ratio as compared to the median employee salary. So I want people to kind of think about this for a second. So you're talking about Citigroup CEO, the pay ratio was the second highest at 360 times what the average employee at that company is making. 360 times. And I want people to one thing I just want to point out here and conceptualize about the wealth factor here. And again, and I'm not making a judgment on whether any of these people deserve or not deserve this money. I simply want to point a couple things out. So if I want you to think about it in this kind of context, if you had $5 million in retirement, you are living probably a pretty decent retirement. You're not going to have to worry about where any money's coming from. If you have to go into a nursing home or something like that, plenty of money there to pay for it. You should be well covered in retirement. If you've got $10 million and you're going to retire, you are in fantastic shape, and you should be there to be able to leave a big chunk of that money to the next couple generations of your family, and most likely next generation of your family is not going to have much of anything to worry about. Now if you've got 30 million bucks, or you got 40 million or 50 million dollars, okay, that is transformational wealth. That is the next 5 generations of your family are never going to have to work a day in their life, and are never going to have to basically worry about anything. So I want people, so just to kind of keep some of this money in context. So Jamie Dimon, he made 35 million bucks last year. Now, again, you could argue that, $7 million in cash compensation, and then another 28 million. It's basically stock options and things that he didn't, he doesn't get that yet, and he wouldn't get that until he decided to cash out over. But Jamie just cashed out, I think, over 100 million bucks not too long ago. Now, granted, he's running a bank with, I don't know what I forget. I have to look it up, but I don't know. Last time I checked, I think JP Morgan Chase had a $3 trillion balance sheet. So, I mean, $35 million seems like nothing when you're managing over $3 trillion in assets. So you could look at it from that perspective, as well as some of the other big banks like Wells Fargo and Citibank. I mean, all have $1 trillion balance sheets. So, you could look at it from that point of view, but I just look at it like, when you've got these CEOs making 230, 259 times, 300 times what the average, employee of that company makes. I mean, it's like, do Yeah, I don't know. I just you look at that, and I think you just wonder if they're they're making more money in 1 year than most people will ever make in their entire lifetime. I want you to think about something. Most people will work 40 years, 50 years, and a lot of them might be able to save $1 million, $1 million if they're lucky over 40, 50 years. And they're in 1 year, they're making a just, you know, 100 times that. Like I said, I don't know. I mean, it's like, again, I'm an absolute capitalist. I believe in capitalism and stuff like that. But I do think you have to question some of this stuff at some point and basically say, like, well, where is this, getting out of whack? I look at the salaries of some of the professional athletes. Steph Curry just signed a 1 year contract today for what, $62 million or whatever. I mean, it's just, then you got guys in baseball signing these, Otani with his $600 million contract. I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean, you feel like a lot of this stuff has really kind of gotten crazy and out of whack. When you consider that, the average family in the U.S. makes like, I don't know, $50,000 a year, something like that, $60,000 a year. So I don't know, something seems to be a little off there. So anyway, but I'm done with my diatribe. Let's keep going here. So let's go to a couple interesting things here. So TPG's John Winkelried is the highest paid financial services company CEO in 2023. So TPG Inc. CEO John Winkelried earned nearly $200 million last year, making him the highest paid CEO in the U.S. financial services in 2023, according to S&P Global Market Intelligence Analysis. Harvey Schwartz of asset manager Carlyle Group was the second highest paid CEO in the industry last year, receiving a total adjusted compensation of $187 million. Blackstone chairman and CEO Steve Schwartzman, the highest paid financial services CEO in 22, came in third with a total adjusted pay of $119.8 million in cash, which was down 52.7%. I know everybody's highly concerned that his compensation was down a lot. He walked away with only $119 million. What's funny about that? I'll have to do. There was a book that I read a number of years ago. So I'm trying to think what that gentleman's name was. The book was called King of the Club. It was written by Charles Gasparino, who was a CNBC guy for a long time, Charlie Gasparino. And the book was about who was his name? The head of the New York Stock Exchange. He had been there for a long time, and he decided that it was time for him to retire. He was going to take this big lump sum payment. It was over $100 million. And I remember when that happened, like, people went, like, their minds just blew up and were like, well, this dude took $100 million, like, whatever. But, here you've got these guys making $100 million, and it's like nobody blinks an eye. You barely hear any news coverage of this at all. So just interesting, something to dwell on. Okay, let's take a look here. So here we got the 10 highest paid CEOs in the U.S. asset management industry. So again, we already talked about the top three, but who else we got? Joseph Bay at KKR and Company. Also Scott Nuttall at KKR and Company. Mario Gabel at Gamco Investors. Michael Arrighetti at Ares Management Corp. Larry Fink, BlackRock Inc. No surprise there. Coming in at $26.9 million. James Cracchioli, if I'm saying that correctly, at Ameriprise Financial, $26.4 million. Douglas Ostrover, Blue Owl Capital Inc. at $18.5, and then Mark Lipschultz also at Blue Owl Capital, also coming in $18.5. But there's definitely a big drop off there. I mean, you kind of come in there first. The three biggest guys, John Winkelried, Harvey Schwartz, and Steve Schwartzman, all coming in over 100 million plus, and then it kind of drops a lot to Joseph Bay at 50 million, really kind of tails off somewhat after there. But obviously, big guys are so. And then what else we got here? We got Broadcom head ranks as the highest paid S&P 500 CEO in 2023. So Broadcom Inc. president and CEO Hock Tan's total adjusted compensation climbed to 161.8 million in 2023, with the receipt of 165 million stock grant, making him the highest paid CEO on the S&P 500 for the year, according to analysis by S&P Global Market Intelligence. Tan's stock grant was front-loaded to cover 5 annual cash incentive payouts and 5 years of annual equity awards under an employment agreement with Broadcom, according to the company's proxy filing. He was ranked as the 6th highest compensated executive in 2022. So the 10 highest paid CEOs in the S&P 500 were, again, Hock Tan with Broadcom coming in at 161.8 million. Nikesh Arora with Palo Alto Networks coming in at 151 million. Stephen Alan Schwartzman, again from Blackstone, at 119.8. Christopher Winfrey from Charter Communications coming in at 89.1 million. William Lansing, Fair Isaac Corp, making 66.3 million. Timothy Cook from Apple making 63.2 million. Hamid Mugadam from Prologis, 50.9 million. Joseph Young-Bay, KKR and Company. Theodore Sarandos at Netflix coming in at 49.8. And David Zaslav, Warner Brothers Discovery Inc. at 49.7. And then the last thing I wanted to show you guys was basically Ross Stores reports the largest 2023 CEO to median employee pay ratio among S&P 500. So Ross Stores Inc. reported the highest CEO to median employee pay ratio among S&P 500 companies that disclosed such information for 2023, according to an analysis of the most recent data by S&P Global Market Intelligence. The CEO to median employee pay ratio at Ross Stores stood at 2,100 to 1 in 2023. With the company's median employees' annual compensation of $8,618 compared with Vice Chair and CEO Barbara Rentler's total compensation of $18.1 million. The pay ratio was up from 1,137 to 1 the previous year. So Rentler's total pay in 2023 increased from $11.3 million in 2022, mainly due to $5.8 million payout from a non-equity company incentive plan, according to a proxy filing. Ross Stores' median employee compensation, which reflected annual pay earned by a part-time hourly retail associate, was the lowest among S&P 500 companies. Though the CEO to median employee pay ratio at Ross Stores increased in 2023, it was lower than the highest ratio among S&P 500 companies reported in 2022 at 5,414 to 1 for Live Nation Entertainment, Inc. So just so everybody understands, if you are number 1 on this list, that's really bad. You don't want to be number 1 on this list. If I was an employee at some of these companies, I might be asking some questions. Just saying. And let's see here. CEO pay ratios range in the S&P 500. So you have like kind of Crown Castle here at times 119. The median was times 194, which, okay, it's not too bad. Ford Motor Company, International Business Machines, IBM, at times 312. And then Ross Stores times 2,100. Median employee compensation range in the S&P 500. So you have like basically Ross Stores here, part-time employee, UPS, 53,000. The median, 78,000. Charles Schwab, 117,000. Meta Platforms, 379,000 at the high end. So just some interesting things there to kind of point out. But so I don't know. So like I said, I thought this was kind of a fun episode in a way, just to kind of examine, see kind of what the CEO pay ratios were in with banks, the financial services, and S&P 500 companies. But there you have it. I don't think anything necessarily shocking in terms of what a lot of these individuals are being paid for their compensation. Some of them are worth every dollar. Some of them maybe not, but I'll leave that for you all to decide. So, but if you like this episode, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, as that always helps the channel. Please make sure to leave your comments down below. Remember, we are on YouTube, Rumble, and all major podcast platforms. Please check out some of the other episodes that I just posted up during the week and this weekend. And I will be back to everybody again real soon. Thanks a lot.